Hey guys, it's Fred here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to get a lot of nuts and bolts on Fortnite PvE on Save the World. And so, yeah, this is a different kind of video that I want to record. And so, a lot of players have been asking me how to get these, and I've seen a lot of people who lack those. So I believe it's important to show you guys how you gonna get these really fast. And so, I could show you a bit of my nuts and bolts over here. I got like 1,000 something of them. So let's just jump in game and show you guys how to farm these like the fastest way possible so far. So before I start, I think the best way to get nuts and bolts is basically by choosing an industrial park map. You don't really need to know what mission it is. You don't really care about that. It's mostly choose like the smaller. You see like the maps with the map with the silo on it, and like you go on it. And so yeah, make sure to set it on private because you don't want to disturb other parties who actually focus on making or on doing the missions, because we're not bad people, right? So we're gonna load into the mission, and I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Alright guys, so we're in game, and I forgot to mention something, because if you want to farm these a bit more efficient, you could always use the Pathfinder Jess. And so, you know, you always get like a bit more materials and things. And so, yeah, this is not like the maximum, it's not the maximum value you could get out of, I mean, if you farm with the ninja, it's definitely not the same. And so what you're basically going to look for is those kind of bars and barbed wire, like that one over there. And you're going to have to search them, or basically destroy other transformers and things. So when you see like the bars and the barbed wires, you're going to want to search them, and they're going to give you a lot of metal and a bit of nuts and bolts as well. And so they usually give you like 6 to 12 pieces of nuts and bolts, which is pretty damn good. Considering there's an actual building full of them. I'm gonna let this guy die. I'm sorry for that. Oh, actually not. Okay, so if you're gonna wander around in this industrial map, you're gonna notice these kind of pillars, or whatever you want to call them. And so if you were to be, which is not my case, if you were to be using a Pathfinder right now, or any other Outlander that uses the anti-material charge, you could basically just pop that and it would break all these immediately. But this is not the case, so I'm gonna have to mine them up real fast. Okay, so once you finish the outside, you wanna come inside here and then break everything that's electricity related to, and you know, even the parking meters, you can just break them, and they're gonna give you, they're a one-shot kill, or whatever you want to call that. And so they give you, I believe it's 1 nut and bolts, 1 nut and 1 bolt. And so you can finish everything that's electricity related, as I said beforehand. And make sure to search those barbed wires as well. And you should roughly get around 200 nuts and bolts only from this place, which is pretty damn good. And now guys, I want to say that everything that's really related to, as I said, electricity gives you nuts and bolts. Even stuff like that, or that. But again, try to look for the searchable objects, because those give you the most nuts and bolts. And I'm gonna try to look for the building that I talked to you earlier about, and I'll see if I can show you how many of these goddamn nuts and bolts there are inside over there. So be right back. Alright guys, finally, this is the one. Now I want to be honest with you, this is gonna take a few reloads of the map. So what you basically gotta do is, you're gonna collect your nuts and bolts, and then you're gonna do leave mission right there. And then you're gonna load up again, and you're gonna look for this thing over here, which looks very similar to some kind of, this looks like nothing to me, but you can definitely see that orange silo on it. And it looks like a house in the middle with 2 garage openings in there. Whatever you want to use to recognize this. I really don't know what to tell you about this, but in this, And this thing, you get so many nuts and bolts, and it's incredible how much metal you can gather as well with this building. And so I'm just gonna keep count of my materials right now, and I want to do like a full run on it. So you basically, what you want to do is break all that, search all of these, as I said before, break all of that as well, and you move up to the next floor, and then to the next floor, and then you're gonna have to check the roof as well. And it's gonna give you some pretty good sweeties. No, I'm joking, it's only nuts and bolts. But yeah, let's go, guys. Alrighty guys, so I'm on top of the building right now. I think I've collected everything that this building had to offer for us. And so I started at around 100, no, it was like 400, what the hell am I saying, 1400 nuts and bolts. And I think I should be at 300 more right now or something. Yeah, so I basically got 300 nuts and bolts only from that building alone. Oh, and well, that's a bit more, say 350 probably if you want to round it up. And yeah, so this was, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes of breaking stuff and searching a lot of these objects. And yeah, so I guess the fastest way of doing this is definitely going to Industrial Park. And then you're going to want to do, as I said before, you choose the transformers, try to break all of these transformers, and wander around in the park and try to look for the barbed wires and bars. And if you see this building, if you're lucky enough to see this building, go right into it, break everything you can see, and enjoy the metal as well, because there's a whole lot of metal in it. I think I got like 2K out of this building alone. And yeah, whenever you see this, try not to salivate, if that's a word. And yeah, just go for it and break it. What the hell do you want? And yeah, so I guess the fastest way of doing it is by choosing the Industrial Park and, well, I mean, doing a private match on your own, and then just find like those items, and really just ignore the mission. And so once you finish, you can just leave the mission right away. But you can still collect your thingy before leaving. Right. So guys, now we're gonna jump into the second method of doing it, which is definitely. It's something, oh my god, it's something that you can do, but it's probably not the most efficient way of doing it. And I've heard people say that it's better because you get mechanical parts as well. And so I'll show you what's about right now. Let me just load up a city, because that's what we want. Okay guys, so now I just loaded up a city, and I believe this is Plankerton. Yeah, I'm sure this is Plankerton actually. And I wanted to make a point on that. I'm not sure if the difficulty changes anything when it comes to nuts and bolts themselves, but I definitely know that if you load up a certain difficulty, you will get a certain type of material, a certain type of mechanical part. And those ones, the simple ones, you get those from Plankerton, and these ones you get from Canny, I believe, the sturdy ones. And I don't really know what's above that, because I'm not that high of a player, with no double meaning. Yeah, so basically I loaded this place up, and you can see there's a bit of parking things as well, and they give you a bit of nuts as well. And so the methods of the city consists in literally going into the buildings and finding the kitchen. Yeah, this was brought up to me by a player, like a random player. And surprisingly enough, all this stuff gives you nuts and bolts, and I'm lagging like hell. That's not wrong. And so all this stuff kind of gives you nuts and bolts. I'm not really sure which one it, like which, what furniture does give you nuts and bolts, but I think it's the, yeah, so it's basically the TVs, the fridge, and stuff like, yeah, okay, even the piano does give you nuts and bolts. And then he told me to go to the toilets as well. And yeah, he didn't tell me to watch out for broken floors. Yeah, so basically what you want to do is just pretty much like destroy all of these, and it's gonna give you a lot of nuts and bolts. This is quoting my friend, because I don't think this is a viable method of doing it, just because you don't get as many the rate is much slower because it really depends on how many kitchens and what do you call them, and toilets you find. And you know, it's also a bit disgusting going into toilets, and you know, that may be just me, you know, but like, I'd do anything for nuts and bolts, so you know, why not? But yeah, anyway, so I think the better method is still going into the industrial park, because you certainly know what you're gonna look for, and you know, it definitely makes your life a lot easier finding those bars and barbed wire. And now, a common misconception that everyone seems to believe is that breaking cars gives you a lot of nuts and bolts. Okay, so let's just try this real fast. And that was... okay, yeah, that was one of the actual item. Like, that's crazy, guys. Like, if you break this generator, it probably gives you even more, or like the same amount. Okay, that's crazy. That was 1 nuts and bolt and 2 simple mechanical parts, which is exactly the same thing that we got from the car. These guys are trying to piss me off. And yeah, so it's definitely not worth breaking the cars unless you want metal. And now, I may say that even if you want the metal, you should still go to the industrial park and search for the barbed wires, because it's insane how much you can get from only searching those guys. And yeah, so now I'm gonna talk about expeditions a bit, because they seem to be worth it. Actually, I've recently tried them out. Yeah, so basically for the expeditions, you're gonna want to put the highest heroes you got, or at least the ones that you don't really use, and you're gonna want to do like every single one of them. And now I believe that once you unlock the skill tree to level 3 or 2 or whatever you want, you can just really go for the boats and trucks, because they are indeed worth it. Because I always thought that they wouldn't be worth the investment of the skill points. But I believe they are, because I cannot give you an example right now, but for instance, I believe once you get one of these supply caches, even if it's medium, I think you still get like 200 nuts and bolts from that alone, and loads of crafting material as well, and it's definitely worth it, to be honest. And you know, you don't want me to say anything about the largest, because the largest give you a shit ton of amount, and you know, it's always a plus to have. Yeah, so overall, to sum up everything we've said so far, it's basically if you want to farm these the most efficient in the most efficient way possible, you're gonna want to use her, which is so she's Pathfinder Jess, and she's pretty common to have, and so to level her up, you're gonna get those phase shifts, and you can basically travel the whole map really fast with that. And then the anti-material charge, you're going to want to go to the transformers, as I said in the beginning of the video, and you're going to want to press the button linked to that, and it's going to explode, and it's going to give you a whole lot of metal and nuts and bolts if you blow all of them up. And yeah, so the most efficient way is grabbing her as your main hero, going into an industrial park, finding the magical house, or whatever you want to call it, and looting everything that's inside it. And yeah, you can also try the wandering around in the industrial park, finding transformers and breaking like park meters or electricity stuff, and you should be good to go. So guys, this is the end of the video, and well, thank you guys for watching if you made it to this point of the video. And I hope it was helpful for newer people, because I know you guys, you veterans out there, must know how to get these real fast. But I believe this is maybe the fastest method of doing it. I don't think there's another way of doing it, actually. But yeah, definitely just do your expeditions. Choose the supply caches if you want the nuts and bolts, and stack up your what do you call them? Your traps. Like when you're searching for nuts and bolts, you should craft those at the same rate, because they take a long time to craft. And yeah, you should be good to go with that. And so guys, if you like these kind of videos, I'm gonna try making some more, a bit of you know, like beginner tutorials on Save the World, because I've been enjoying this game so far, and it's the type of grindy game that I like, because you get to do all the time. You do the same thing pretty much, and always kill zombies, build stuff. get yourself out of sticky situations sometimes, and whatever. It's always about building and doing the same thing and grinding the hell out of it. But I kind of seem to enjoy it, and so I guess I could start making some tutorials on it, like this one, and so bring some awesome content on this game, and I don't know, could come up with new stuff as well. I mean, let me just know what you guys like, and if you enjoy this kind of thing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you